Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're talking about FastAPI. And let me tell you, it's a framework that's really shaking things up in the Python world, especially when it comes to building high-performance APIs.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever had an API just fall over in production because of a simple typo from a user? You know, you've been there, right? It works perfectly on your laptop, but the second it's out in the wild, someone sends a string where a number should be, and boom, it's down. Or maybe it just grinds to a halt when traffic picks up. And don't even get me started on documentation or the lack of it. It's a developer's nightmare for sure. All right, so to really get why FastAPI is such a big deal, we gotta look at the old way of doing things. For a long time, frameworks like Flask were king, right? But as projects got bigger, they started to show some, well, let's call them growing pains. So, on the one hand, you've got the traditional way. Think about it. You had to write your own data validation from scratch. Every single request was handled one after the other, synchronously, which could create some serious performance bottlenecks. And documentation, that was a manual job. And let's be honest, it was usually the first thing to get forgotten. But now, look at the modern solution. It's a complete 180. We're talking automatic data validation, high-performance asynchronous handling, and even docs that generate themselves. So how does it do all that? Well, that's where FastAPI steps onto the scene. It was literally designed from the ground up to solve these exact problems. It's all about being faster, more reliable, and frankly, just a whole lot easier for developers to work with. Okay, so what is FastAPI really? At its core, it's this brilliant combination of two other libraries. You've got Starlet, which is like this super fast, lightweight engine handling all the web stuff. And then you've got Pydantic, which is like the advanced safety system, making sure all the data coming in is exactly what you expect. It's this 1-2 punch of speed and reliability that makes it so incredibly popular, especially for things like machine learning, where you can't afford mistakes. All right, let's get into the good stuff. What really makes FastAPI tick? I like to think of it as having 3 superpowers. Superpower number 1. Pure, unadulterated speed. Now, older frameworks worked kind of like a checkout line with only one cashier. If one person takes forever to find their wallet, the whole line just stops. FastAPI, on the other hand, is built on something called ASGI, which is more like an expert barista juggling multiple orders at once. While one coffee is brewing, they're already starting the next. Your server is never just sitting there waiting. For anything that involves I/O, like, hitting a database, this asynchronous approach is an absolute game changer for performance. Next up, and this one is huge, is automatic data validation. This is all thanks to Pydantic. All you do is define what your data should look like using standard Python type hints. That's it. FastAPI handles everything else. It validates all the incoming data for you, and if it doesn't match, it gets rejected immediately with a super clear error message. No more manual if this, then that validation code. And just look at this code snippet. It's so simple, right? This little class is your entire data contract. You're just saying, hey, FastAPI, I need an age that's an integer and a signup_month that's a string. Done. So if someone tries to send you age as the word 30, FastAPI just blocks it instantly. All that boilerplate validation code you used to have to write, poof, gone. And that brings us to the third superpower, which is really a beautiful consequence of the other two, developer productivity. Think about it. You've already told FastAPI what your data looks like for validation, right? Well, it takes that exact same information and uses it to automatically generate your API documentation. So you're not writing validation code, you're not writing docs, you're just focusing on your actual application logic. It's like getting 2 critical features for free. And this is the result. This is the magic. With literally 0 extra lines of code, you get this beautiful interactive documentation page. Another developer can come here, see all your endpoints, see exactly what data they need to send, and they can even try it out right here in the browser. It's not just a static page of text, it's a living, breathing playground for your API. How cool is that? Okay, so we've got speed, we've got data safety, and we've got killer productivity. But what happens when you need to do something for every single request? Like checking for an authentication token or logging what's happening? That's where we need to talk about middleware. I love this quote. Your API's secret agent. That really nails it. Middleware is basically a piece of code that intercepts everything, every incoming request and every outgoing response. It gives you this incredible power to add logic that applies across your entire API. Think authentication, logging, custom headers, you name it. So here's a great real-world example. Let's say you want to stop someone from hammering your API with thousands of requests a second. You can build a rate limiter with middleware.
The process is pretty straightforward, as you can see. You just create this little agent that sits there, watches the IP address of every request, keeps a count, and if someone goes over the limit, bam, it blocks them. And the best part? You write that logic once, and it protects your whole API. Okay, so building a simple app is one thing. But when you start building for production, when your project starts to get really big, well, you need to be a little more disciplined about structure and maintenance. And thankfully, there are some really solid best practices the community has figured out. Things like using Alembic for your database migrations. Seriously, do this from day one. It will save you from so many headaches later on by tracking every single change to your database. And other things too, like using routers to keep your code organized instead of having one giant file, and even using Pydantic to manage your settings. It's all about building things the right way so they don't break later. And this is a great little detail that shows the health of the whole ecosystem. FastAPI isn't just a project frozen in time, it's constantly evolving. So when Pydantic, its core validation library, got a major update to v2, it made some method names clearer. You can see dict became model dump. Now that might seem like a tiny change, but it's a sign of a healthy, active project that cares about making things better and clearer for developers. That's a really good thing to see. So let's zoom out. We've talked about speed, safety, and productivity. Why does all of this matter so much? Well, let's look at one of the biggest fields in tech right now, machine learning. The reason FastAPI has just exploded in popularity is that it nails the fundamentals. It gives developers exactly what they need, a way to build fast, reliable services without getting bogged down in boilerplate code or fighting silly bugs. For anyone working in machine learning, this is just a perfect fit. When you deploy a model, you need inference to be super fast, right? FastAPI's async performance is perfect for that. You absolutely positively cannot let bad data get to your model and crash it. Well, Pydantic is your bodyguard at the door. It just fits so seamlessly into the whole Python ML stack, scikit-learn, TensorFlow, you name it. It just makes the whole process of getting a model out into the real world so much faster. So when you put it all together, the speed, the data safety, the incredible developer experience, it's pretty clear why FastAPI is a massive deal. It's not just another framework. It's genuinely forcing a conversation about what we should expect from our tools. And it leaves you with a really interesting question to think about. Now that the bar has been set this high, where do we go from here?